Hey everybody, Shay here for a channel update, and as you can see from the image on my screen, I am on a quest to feed the algorithm beast, and now you see 10 lists on the screen because YouTube loves them nums on them lists, and I've got this chapter thing going on which I'm going to try out. As you can see below, you can just fast forward to the chapter that interests you, and we'll see what that does because I'm here to feed the beast. And I'll get into what all of that means. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'm actually going to attempt with this update video. This update's going to be ram-packed with video games. I had to put a slide deck together in order to organize my own thoughts around this so that I didn't deviate so much or I didn't forget anything along the way. I'm going to update you on the current games and the upcoming games. I'm going to be talking about Assassin's Creed content coming to the channel, and I'll get into that. Some Orphaned But Not Forgotten games, which I'd like to just bring up just to remind people that I haven't forgotten about certain things. And then I want to talk about the community polls that I put out there voting for games and why it's important and why I'm gathering all of that. And I want to kind of let you in behind the scenes, like under the hood, you know, behind the curtain. Like I want to let you see that all of this stuff matters when I engage out there and try to pull this information in. The community really does. Your opinions matter to me, and they persist. They persist longer than you'd imagine. And then the top 20 playlists on the channel for the last month, and then the subscriber versus unsubscriber, and I'll explain what all of that means together, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Let's just start this off with the first one, updating on the current games. Hopefully this is visually stimulating enough for you guys to be interested in understanding how I'm kind of starting to track all the games that are current running games. I hope to do something with these kinds of graphics so that I can maybe update on the community section so that people can get a snapshot of what the status is on games. Like, am I done playing it? Am I done producing it? Is all the content scheduled? And then down here, each one of these squares represents an hour. If they're colored in, it means that they are released. It's already out there. You're all watching it. If they're blank like this for Life is Strange, I haven't started. So this is chapter 5. I'm speculating that there's about 6 hours worth of gameplay left. The last one took me 6 hours, so I'm assuming it's 6 hours for the last one as well. And then there's the small black squares with the white border around them. It means that I've already produced them and I've scheduled them on YouTube for release. For example, on Batman Arkham Asylum, you'll notice the black border here is that I've already recorded them as well. So I've cleared the game, as you can see by the green check mark, and then I've got 2 hours worth posted online. That's not necessarily one per episode because Batman episodes tend to be an hour and a half each. And so this will all kind of balance out. There's about 11 of them left. It's 15 per row, by the way, 15 squares per row. There's about 11 hours left of backlog for me to edit through. That's probably going to be something like 7 episodes left for me to schedule. So this is going to go somewhere around episode 18 is going to be the full Batman series. That takes us to Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, I'm done playing. That's what kind of compromised. Both of these games compromised Life is Strange over the last 2 weeks or so. I was editing. I was playing and editing Life is Strange, and I just started with. I was killing some time with Batman, and then I was like, then I got ahead on Batman. And I was like, let me kill some time with Hollow Knight, and then Hollow Knight destroyed me. Like it completely absorbed me, and so it led to me recording another 20 hours of backlog and clearing the game. So I am done. I mean, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Try not to spoil me, despite me saying I've cleared the game. Try not to spoil me because I'm under the impression there might be something else, and so I just want to let the audience catch up, and then we'll have a conversation about it when I think I'm done the game. In any case, there's about 3 hours here posted online. Each of these episodes is 30 minutes each, so there's 6 episodes effectively already scheduled for the next week and a half or so, and then there's about 15 hours worth of backlog that I still need to go through, edit, and grind through. Now that could equal up to 30 episodes, but not quite, because there's a lot of grinding I did there. There's a lot of cutting that I'm gonna have to do in this last 15 hours of backlog. This is maybe 9 to 10 hours of video content to be posted on the channel. So I don't know, this series might get somewhere around the 80 mark, I suppose, if I had to take a guess. So getting there. So that's the update on the current games. Now, are you ready for this? Are you holding on to something? Did y'all sit down? You got to sit down for this. Ready? Okay, the October update. Upcoming games for October. This is likely going to slide into November. There's a lot of games here. You've heard me talking about The Walking Dead for probably the 5-6 years of this channel. I've been always meaning to come back to this game. I played part of the episode 1, I suppose. I had it on my Steam from 2012, if that sounds right. And it was an hour and a half or so, maybe. Does that sound right? I don't know how far I got. I don't remember any of the characters involved, so this is still going to effectively be blind. I don't know. I know these 2 characters. I know there's 3 scenes in my head that I still remember, but I don't remember anything else or the characters involved in this game, like people you meet along the way and like the life and death situations that this game creates. I know it creates them. I just don't remember the value of those characters anymore. So it will be a blind playthrough of the entire set, the entire 5 episodes, 5 chapters of this. Now, Little Nightmares course, a puzzle platformer. I really enjoyed Limbo back in the day, and so this kind of felt like that to me. I saw a trailer of it and I thought it looked cute and kind of creepy, and so, and short, and it's a short game, and so I figured I could get this, slide this one in for like a Halloween treat sort of thing. Then there's this game, Soma. Come up quite a bit on the channel, just here and there. It just kind of gets sprinkled, and it gets just a reminder, a little poke, you know. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be playing this game. You don't understand. I don't think I should be playing this game, but it's on the list. I bought it, and it's on the list, and so I'm gonna give it an attempt. I don't know anything about this game, of course. I know this more psychologically, maybe, I don't know, psychological horror, psychological creepy factor. Listen, I don't know, but I'm going to attempt it. There's House of Ashes, another Dark Pictures anthology. I'll be doing this co-op with Hark, Angel Arts channel, and so we've done the first 2 games. We really enjoyed playing together, and the first game, we were very blind coming into this game, and so we sort of talked over each other's runs, despite we were doing different actions in our run, you know what I mean, because the character switch, for people who know the game. This is the kind of game you play, and you do not communicate with the person you're co-oping with. So in the second game, we played it where we each sat and did our chapters, and then on the interludes we would share some ideas without spoiling each other along the way, because we were waiting to see how kind of things played out, and then we just had a fuller talk, a summary talk near the end. So we'll be doing that again, that approach for House of Ashes. Really looking forward to this. This is likely going to slip into November though. We're not going to be able to play this one over Halloween this year. And then Dying Light, I talked about in the last update video. I want to do this one as a co-op with previously known as Silent Deviant channel, now currently known as the RPG Fox. Now this co-op is gotten shelved because it doesn't really jive with the RPG Fox's channel. I'm going to get into that because it's kind of going to be important for the next update. Dying Light though is something that I'm still willing to try out solo. It allows me to actually, you know, not like a coward, but like take my time, just kind of hiding, learning the game, and getting into a bit of the lore of the game too. It might allow me to also get into more of the story of the Dying Light. I don't know if there is a story in Dying Light. I don't know anything about the game outside of parkour zombies. That's what it got. That's what Silent Deviant, aka the RPG Fox, or RPG Fox, aka previously known as Silent Deviant, that's how he pitched it to me. It sounded interesting. I love Assassin's Creed parkouring. Let's try it with zombies for Halloween. Okay, so I'm going to try to slip this one in, but it's at the end of the list here because I don't know where it's going to fit in. It could slide into November, but I want to try to at least kick this off and do like a let's try or something. Just try the game out and like get a feel for it in October. That takes me to Starbound. Now, Starbound was a game, I have been looking at this game for at least 6 years, 5 or 6 years, and probably because of Silent Deviant, aka the RPG Fox. I'm not going to do that every time. The RPG Fox. So I remember this being one of the earliest Let's Plays on his channel. We had both started YouTube at the time. Somewhere around 2016 is when we kind of got to know each other a little bit from a small YouTuber forum back in the day. And I knew he was playing Starbound, and I was addicted to Dig or Die. It was one of the first series on this channel as well. And so this one felt like a more complex version of Dig or Die. And then he and I co-opted Dig or Die, and it was one I really enjoyed that Let's Play. And so since we shelved Dying Light, we just got to talking and it came up Starbound. I mean, Starbound is multiplayer. Why not give that a try? And so that's what we're going to try. I don't know when. This could be more of a November game, but in any case, it's something I'm going to be looking into, and we're going to be seeing if we can line something up co-op, and this is likely going to be a very long game just because of the nature of this game. And despite starting as vanilla, we're not going to be limited to that. I'm going to let him drive. He's the expert here, but eventually we could install mods as we go. But I personally need to start with vanilla just so I can kind of get to know the game. So without further ado, I want to give an interlude to the RPG Fox's channel. The URL to get there is still The Silent Deviant, so youtube.com/The Silent Deviant. And I've put a list of games together here that are some of his longer running games, some games that I've watched just because they interested me, and some of them I wouldn't play, like Cry of Fear. But Imposter Factory, of course, I can't play yet. I played To the Moon, A Bird Story, and then I haven't played Finding Paradise yet, which is also on his list. Imposter Factory he just did, which you see right here is the current videos right now. So if you're interested in watching someone play the Imposter Factory, there you go. There's a channel to do it on. Library of Runia, massive LP for him. Code Vein is on there. Anime RPG, of course. Lobotomy Corporation, massive run on that too, and very granular. And I mean, he's detail oriented, very strategic player, knows the meta of things, and just and grinds things out, and has the patience of a saint. Okay, so Finding Paradise, talked about that. Doki Doki Literature Club, of course, visual novel that was doing its rounds back a few years ago. I liked his take on it. Dig or Die, of course, the collaboration. Really, really proud of that collaboration. It was one of my favorites games to play just solo, but it was just a lot of fun to do collaboratively. So he's got his view, of course, collected on his side, and he's done a solo run of that. Undertale, of course, a lot of people looking for Undertale Let's Plays out there. Here's another one you can check out. Cry of Fear, of course, a game I just will not play. Some games I will not play. And then, of course, one of his earliest LPs that got me interested in his channel many, many years ago, Starbound. So this is in order of the most recent release to the oldest on the playlist. Now I'm going to ask all of you, if you're interested in any of these games, the link will be in the description below. So it's a quick on hop over there. It's youtube.com/thesilentdeviant. If you got half an hour to kill, give one of those playlists a try. And part of feeding the algorithm beast here is, of course, it's going to be beneficial for both of these channels. And since we're going to collaborate, maybe this will like spark something. Now, to give you some context about how this feeds the algorithm beast, when you leave a channel and you go to another channel, the channel that you go to, of course, gets the views, the retention, the kind of traffic you give of your time to that new channel. But the channel that gets you to that channel also gets residual benefits off of that time on that channel. So I kind of still benefit off of you going and giving RPG Fox a try. I'm just trying anything possible with this update to feed the algorithm beast to then measure it and see if anything different has happened after this month, and then I will review all that data together, and I'm happy to give an update on any of the findings along the way. Leave some comments down below if this is something that interests you. Of course, that also feeds the algorithm beast. Leave some comments, leave a like, of course, you know the drill. Let's move on to the next topic. Assassin's Creed content. This is going to be overflow from October to November. As you can see from what's on the screen, it's not just gaming content. There's 2 different reaction videos I would like to do before continuing the gameplay. So there's Assassin's Creed Ascendance. It's a short film, a short animated film. So I would just wouldn't mind doing that one just to see what it is, like what it offers. I think this one happens. I could be wrong here because I'm definitely blind going into this. This was a list that was provided to me, but I think it happens in the Ezio trilogy section of things. And then this takes us to Assassin's Creed Embers, which is a conclusion story to Ezio. And I can see by the graphic when I was grabbing this image here that this there's a reason why Assassin's Creed Chronicles China was recommended to me before Assassin's Creed 3. It looks like there's a connection here with a character that appears in Embers, also being the character you potentially play, or I'm assuming you play at this point in Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. So this one feels like a shorter game as well, so I'll be able to like fire through it, I'm certain of it. And then that brings us to Assassin's Creed 3. I think I have the remastered. I looked into this, but I keep forgetting. I think people might help me in the comments below, because I don't know if I had Assassin's Creed 3 but then Uplay automatically upgraded to the remastered, or if I had to get the remastered, if I got it and then it upgraded. Look, I don't remember. It's okay if it's not. I know that it's supposed to fix a lot of things that frustrate people though, but I need to look into that again because I forget. But in any case, it's Assassin's Creed 3, and that's all that really matters. To the next one, we have Orphaned But Not Forgotten. Do you see some of those images on the screen? Do you have memories of these? Have you been on this channel long enough to know how some of these disappeared? Because I can go through them just really quickly at the high level so that I can remind people that I haven't forgotten. I know they were left behind. They each have a reason. All of them different. All of them different, possibly. So we have the DLC for The Last of Us. Love the game. Love the game. The DLC was something that I took a while to get to right away, and I forget the reason for that. But then a bunch of other stuff started to go haywire. I'm certain it had something to do with possibly my dog. I needed to take a hiatus back in the day when he was getting sicker, but then he came out of it. And then of course the inevitable conclusion of that over the summer, this summer, where he had to get put down. Rest in peace. But it's still on the list, and it's something that I'd like to eventually go back to, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed everything about the first game, so I wouldn't mind going back to it. Half-Life. This is a game I played 2 hours of it, and I had full intentions of going for it with this game. At the 2-hour mark, I started getting super dizzy, super nauseous, and at the end of the second episode of this LP, I had to exit rapidly. So the way that I closed that episode, it was an explicit reaction to I thought I was going to puke all over my keyboard. So I got extreme motion sickness. Did find some information online, and I believe I had some confirmations in the comments below. Now I don't know if this works yet or not because I haven't tried it, but it's something to do with the visual range, and there's a way for you to use a console command in order to change that visual range. And so I'm willing to go back into this game at some point and give it another shot. I will likely have to play from the beginning again, but I'll hypercut my my way back to the point where the first 2 episodes ended, or maybe I'll just reboot it and we'll go from there. But in any case, still on the list, and you'll see why. This is all important. It's all going somewhere. We got Portal Stories Mel. So this is a mod that got released, and then Steam offers it for free now because it's a mod, but it's supposed to be a very good mod expansion. And so this is something I'd like to turn to. I'd like to go back to this game, but similar sort of thing happened to me in Portal 2. Didn't happen to me in Portal 1, but it happened to me in Portal 2 when it started like throwing you around and the paint stuff was going on. There was one of the boards where I got super nauseous flying around the zone. This is just something very recently that's been happening to me in the last 2 years since playing Half-Life. This was the trigger right here. And then BioShock Infinite, there was one board in particular, the one on the ship, that got to me for a few minutes. And then Portal 2 at some point got me in those bigger boards where you're flying around. So anyway, so Portal Stories Mel, something I want to get back to. This is likely going to trigger some people at this point because I've been talking about playing Witcher 3 for so long, since last year. But of course then Cyberpunk was coming out and I wanted to do Cyberpunk first. And the votes in the polls did basically say just play Cyberpunk first and wait for the remaster that's coming out for The Witcher. So I'm waiting for the remaster, and it was supposed to come out fall this year, but I believe the last update I got was something like last week. CD Projekt Red said that they don't have an actual firm date of when that update is going to be done, like it's when it's going to be done and released to market. I think they learned a thing or two with the Cyberpunk release. Basically, don't promise any dates, deliver it late, but deliver it good, you know, don't screw it up, and everyone will be happier. So it's Witcher 3 too. This is not something they want to do further damage control on, you know what I mean? I'm okay playing the best version of this game when it comes out. It's going to be the best bang for my buck. That was a lot of buzz sounds all of a sudden. Anyways, it's going to be the best bang for my buck, and it's kind of relevant to the whole point of this video right here, this update, and why this is going to be even more important to just have patience. I need to have patience, but also I'm asking the community to have more patience. At this point, can you have more patience than like a year and a half of waiting for Witcher 3? I think not. But all jokes aside, I mean, I do apologize for it, but at the same time, I do want my best experience. I want it on ultra settings, and I want to get the best bang for my buck. So hopefully y'all understand that. So Finding Paradise, I've played to the moon. I've been meaning to go back into this line of games. Finding Paradise was the next one up, and of course they just released Imposter Factory. So I want to get back into this game. At one point I have to slide this in to the schedule between now and Christmas, I imagine, is when it's going to maybe slip it. And then I say maybe, it's for sure, maybe. No, maybe slip in over the next 3 months, I would say. And then there's Steins Gate. Does anyone remember Steins Gate? I started on my manga channel, and then I moved it onto the gaming channel, and then because I was having some copyright issue things going on the manga channel, then they sort of kind of cleared on the gaming channel, but then they started creeping up, and it was 1. And then it was 2 on one video. Then it was like 3. And I was like, what's going on here? Like every couple days, my videos are getting nailed. And then it was like a country blocker. And I was like, country blocker? Like, I don't mind getting the copyright thing. Like, so it's all the music in the game is going to the music maker. Anyways, of all the music in the game, it's one soundtrack, it's one music Wizards, it was this Wizards, I forget the name of it. In any case, when I try to remove the song using the YouTube kind of stuff, the tools behind the scenes, no, it just kills the entire episode. Like the entire episode is flagged by this company that's just claiming all of the music inside Steins Gate, and that's so unfortunate. I really wanted to play this game. I think I stopped on episode 8 or something. They're all, I don't know if they're unlisted or they're private. Like, you can't even reach these videos anymore. But I would like to just put them back onto the channel and just the country blockers really bother me. But at the same time, it's like, it's not everybody is blocked, and I really do want to play this game and I want to come back to it. So in any case, I don't know if any of you remember that, because it was like so short-lived. It was so quick. It was there and then it wasn't. Anyways, moving on to the next section here, we have the latest community poll. Every vote matters, and I'm going to explain to you why every vote matters, because I'm going to illustrate to you, I'm going to show you how I capture this data and what I do with it in order to have the community vote influence the way I prioritize the games that I bring onto the channel. You're going to see another game that I didn't think I'd ever come back to this franchise because of the way Metal Gear Solid 1 went on this channel. If you haven't watched it yet, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it was one of the most frustrating games I have ever played. And the fact that I recorded a Let's Play of it, and I, you know, when I think back to it, because I know some of it was my fault, obviously, obviously, but then there was parts of it that was just by design, was designed to frustrate someone like me. more. Even as I got frustrated with myself, it just made that feeling worse, you know? And so I think I offended some Metal Gear fans out there, and I do apologize for that. Like, looking back, I was like, I should just never have released the game at all. And maybe I would have just started with 3 or 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Like, I would have played it, and I would have gone, wow, this is like going to get some negative feedback, so I'm just not going to release it. But you know what? It's part of the history of this channel at this point, and I saw GOG release this game on sale, and it's the Substance version of it, so it's the one where they put it all together. I don't know what the details are of how all this works, but it's Metal Gear Solid 2, but it's like a bunch of like other stuff, okay? It's all combined. So I saw that, I'm like, well, I'll keep an eye on it at this point. If it goes on sale again, I'll get it. Maybe I'll give it another try. After Hollow Knight, I'm like, well, how bad could it be? Like, could it be worse than some of the feelings I had during Hollow Knight? I don't know anymore. So I'm willing to give it a shot. Maybe my memories are old enough that I'm just willing to give it a shot. Uncharted 2, of course, we played 1. Might as well get 2 on the channel. Assassin's Creed 3, you know the history there. It's come up on a couple polls. It's always number 1. So this one's inevitably going to be the next one up from a community perspective. It's here at 39% as of the recording of this video. We got Horizon Zero Dawn. This is my most anticipated dive into a lore-rich world. I love the images I see online for Alloy. On Twitter, I'm following some digital photography people that every time I see an image of Alloy in this game, I was like, is this like manipulated outside of the game? Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. I just love the look and feel of this game so much. And then we have Pokemon Omega Ruby. I feel like I need another Pokemon game in my life. I need something that I can just grind through casually and have as a backup game that I just work through, and it's sort of surface level, you know, and I can just have fun with the community along the way. And so Omega Ruby won that poll. I put it up against Alpha Sapphire, and of course it won, so that's the one. I've already tested the recording on it. There was some really weird frames per second problem that I was having on the emulator, but it worked out well enough, I think. It's sort of not perfect, but it's well enough. In any case, that's the list right now. The poll link will also be in the description below. If you haven't voted on this poll or any of the polls in the history of the community tab, go through the list and just vote on whatever you haven't voted on. Get your vote to count, and then I will pull all that information into this thing right here, into a community picks to help me prioritize the games that I'm bringing to the channel. So what happens is that all of those votes get pulled into a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet weights all those scores against each other within the poll pools that they're in, and then some of them, if they repeat, I end up getting the average votes for that particular entry, and then I funnel that total into a final list of games, of all games that are on the list, which is this piece right here. I read out the ones that have already been played. As you can see, it's already top heavy for the games that I've prioritized so that I could clear them because they were influenced by the community votes. And then this list here on the right side is the unplayed games that are left over. They might not be where they need to be on the list anymore because other things might outweigh them, and so I will put them against those things, and then I'll see how they shake out. So right now I have a top 10 list from the community. Assassin's Creed 3 is number 1. The Walking Dead from Telltales is number 2. This one has been on 4 surveys at the time. One of them destroyed them, like brought them really down, but then the other ones kept bringing them back up. At this point, because so much has been played, these are the top 2 ready to go, and I am lining them up to play. As you can see, number 3 here, Half-Life 2 is on the list, but because that's why I was going to give up on Half-Life because of the motion sickness, I was like, I don't think I can go back to that one. But to play Half-Life 2, part of me is like, yeah, the completionist in me is like, but I gotta play Half-Life in order to play Half-Life 2. So because it's number 3 currently on the list, it's something that I want to give thought to because I have to figure out whether or not this is still viable for a game for me to play or not. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. This is an older game, of course. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a remake coming for this game, so maybe I don't play the old game anymore, right? Just wait for the remake. If I'm right about this, I could be making this up. At this point, I feel like I have this phantom memory. Anyways, we have Jade Empire, one of the earlier BioWare games, so some people are interested in this. I think this came up twice on the poll lists, and it's 5 right now. And I suspect that this is a shorter game than the Dragon Age and Mass Effect trilogy, so there's that. Then we have Disco Elysium. This is probably up there on my personal list. I have basically 3 lists that I work off of. I have the community picks list, I have a personal list, and I have a chronology list. And then kind of a mix of all of that is what determines what my lineup is going to be for the next 30 to 60 days. So we have Disco Elysium, we have Pokemon Omega Ruby. Now it's decided it's going to be Omega Ruby. That's on the list. It's number 7, but again, I feel like really playing it on my personal list. It's kind of feeling like a game I need, and so it starts to get some bonus points, you know what I mean? And then we have Dishonored, and we have Deus Ex Human Revolution. So those games I need to put back onto some list and refigure them out, figure out where they shake out. That takes us to the top 20 list. You'll see some surprises. I mean, I was surprised by some of them that pop up here. Every 30 days this sort of changes up on me, and I see something happen that I'm like, I did not anticipate that. So this shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Dragon Age Inquisition is the top playlist right now. It's got a lot of content in there, a lot of hours, right? So it's gonna rack up those views, rack up that time, and so it's number 1 right now. But it wasn't always number 1. Infinite has started to wane over the last year, and then Inquisition has started to catch up. And so that's sort of just, it's interesting to me. It's a much longer Let's Play, but it's starting to rack up those views. Borderlands 3, you'll see in number 2. Borderlands 2 is in number 5. Borderlands are games, co-op games with 3 others, and not really a Let's Play that, you know, I anticipated being very high because of just the nature of it. Like, I wasn't getting deep into the story. I wasn't getting granular about anything, right? We were just having fun. It was 4 dudes having fun. But as it turns out, people are finding this game and they're digging in, and they're giving this these LPs a shot. So kind of intrigued by that, to be honest. I just never anticipated it. Dragon Age Origins in number 3. Dragon Age 2 down here in number 8. So the Dragon Age trilogy is kind of surfacing in the top 10 at this point. It wasn't always that way, especially Dragon Age 2 wasn't on the top 10, I don't think, for quite a while. We have Plants vs. Zombies. So I kind of nerfed this Let's Play when I took it off the channel. Pretty sure I put it back on the channel around March or April, and it's already climbed up to spot 4 again. Same thing with Leaf Green. I also compromised this one twice. I compromised it last year in September, and then I compromised it in February this year by unlisting them. When you unlist playlists on the channel and episodes in that playlist, YouTube throws away all the data associated to the value of these Let's Plays. Leaf Green was one of my top performing Let's Plays on the channel. Easily. I mean, the trading card game is here in number 12. This was number 1 easily. This is getting 1,000 plus views a month, and this is unheard of for this channel. I don't get 1,000 views a month on anything else. So yeah, that completely got compromised, and they're crawling back up onto the list, back onto the top 10. Got Star Wars here in number 7, and Star Wars 2, the Sith Lords in number 10, and of course, I don't regret my opinions during the Let's Play, but I know that, you know, it made some fans disappointed because, of course, you're watching a Let's Play to kind of relive some happy memories of the game. But, you know, my Let's Play did not go very well, and it's not necessarily for my decisions. The game itself was bugged at the wrong times, and the game was already buggy, but it was bugged at the wrong times, and it led to some really frustrating narrative breakdowns that, for me, that's my priority, right? I love to get into the narrative and having it flow a certain way that makes sense, and have character dynamics make sense through the experience. And mine broke down. My game broke down. I don't think that was a normal thing to have happen, but it happened to me, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Anyways, you have Hollow Knight at number 9 here. So very early Let's Play. Started a long time ago, but then hiatus at I think episode 10 or something, and then I started again, and then I took another time off because of the situation with my dog during the summer, and then I got deep into it over the last 2 weeks. It just completely absorbed me for the last 20 hours. So there you go, it's number 9. So on to the next top 10 here from 11 to 20. We've gone through a couple of these. Assassin's Creed 2, for example, is at 13, and Assassin's Creed 1 is at 19. These used to be way higher on the list. These were in the top 10. So for some reason, they're sliding down now. They don't have as much steam. I don't know if it's like when I'm playing an Assassin's Creed game, people might find the channel and then they go back to 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, right? People are just grinding through those other playlists, and then it spikes them back into the top 10. I don't know what the situation is there, but in any case, intriguing. We have Plants vs. Zombies, still the first game, post-game, so this is my replay of the first game, is also crawling back up there. After I had compromised it, it was completely off the list, nowhere to be found. But there it is again. Heart Gold, same thing, was off the list twice, again, last year September, and this year February. I compromised it twice, completely nuked all the data, and it's coming back into the top 20. So Pokemon, I mean, people seem to dig that stuff, and people dig the Leaf Green one because I think it's more like, because I'm collecting all Pokemon as opposed to having that theme team in Heart Gold, and so people are digging that again. So we're gonna do that again for next one, Omega Ruby. We'll do it open range. I'm just gonna go for it. We got Mass Effect 1 here. Now this got a spike because of Legendary getting released, Mass Effect Legendary. I noticed that when that released, Mass Effect 1 in particular was getting a massive spike that month, and then some people stuck around. So welcome to the channel. Appreciate you all being here. And then we have Life is Strange, relatively new to the channel as well. We're going to move on to Before the Storm, and then Life is Strange 2, of course, and then there's the True Colors. So there's plenty of Life is Strange to go around, but it's already found a place in the top 20 list at spot 17. Then we have BioShock Infinite again at 18, which was way higher, and now it's not. And then here's a shocker. This one shocked the hell out of me. It's that Metal Gear Solid Integral, the first one, has made it onto the top 20 playlist list. But I didn't put the Metal Gear 2 on that poll because I knew Metal Gear Solid Integral was climbing the charts. I had no idea until I was putting this together. I was like, what? So strangely enough, there was some sort of spiritual harmony that happened there with me going, maybe I should give Metal Gear 2 a try. Maybe I should just try. And then I see this, I'm like, okay. People are not abandoning the entire channel because of this Let's Play. Anyways, so we'll see where that goes. This leads me to this data chunk here, which I find intriguing to look at playlists, which is why this is relevant here, this list, because things like Borderlands 3, Borderlands 2, Metal Gear to some degree, Plants vs. Zombies, the first run of that, the Pokemon trading card game online would be another one that stands out to me, possibly Leaf Green and Heart Gold as well. They don't seem to convert people. So what I mean by that is that people will find those playlists and then they'll just grind through the playlist, but they won't become subscribers. That's not a bad thing. I do that to channels as well. Some channels that I'm huge fans of, but I won't subscribe because some of the thumbnails or titles of their episodes could spoil me. So I just save playlists that I want to watch inside a bookmark folder, and then I watch them that way, right? So that could be happening, and that's completely viable. It's completely, I'm still grateful for all the views, right? But the downside of all of that is that it starves the algorithm beast, which is what this whole update is about, and I figured it was kind of appropriate to kind of talk about because I'm not sure how it helps. Like, so because that conversion doesn't happen, it doesn't help feed the beast, but it should help, like, in some way. It should kind of be a signal, like these unsubbed views still should matter in the way that the algorithm sort of feeds you to from a discovery perspective. But I don't feel like that's happening. I feel like people come and go through these playlists, and I just wonder why that conversion process doesn't happen nowadays. I feel like it used to happen way more in the past than it does today. I tend to watch vlogs of other channels just to get some context as to how they're feeling about the growth of their channel, things like that, and anywhere ranging from a couple thousand subscribers to something like 50,000-70,000 subscribers. And they all seem to be talking about the same things that have been frustrating me for the last 2 years, at least, since the whole COVID thing. Like, I feel like something's weird and wonky about the way the data is doing things, and it's making it very hard for someone to create a strategy that then builds towards growth being part of their mission statement for their channel. It's been something that's been frustrating me, something that I just want to point out, that when I started posting again, so in the last 90 days of the channel, the unsubbed views were at 74%. So 74% of people watching things on the channel, they weren't subscribers, and they weren't converting to subscribers because the number would effectively stay around that mark. Whereas in the last month or so, now that there's there's like 6 weeks of more persistent content, new Let's Play started, Life is Strange, Batman, Hollow Knight, and between those 3 games, there was enough traction there that it looks like those games possibly helped convert some of that what is that, 10%? So 10% conversion over the last 60 days, right? The thing is happening again where I'm going to look like a drunk the further I get into these longer videos, because my nose starts to go red, or when I get excited and talk fast like this, my nose starts to really itch and I have to cut around things like a madman. In any case, back to this. I would like to see if this particular video helps bring this down again. Like, I feel like this is the chance for me to test something, and it could compromise me. I'm fully aware of that. And you'll see what I mean with the next slide when I get into the subscribe button and what I'm going to ask the community to do. It's going to be super risky, but this is all in an attempt to do a communal feed the beast moment here. And it has to be on this episode, and I'll explain what this is. It has to be on this episode. So when you scroll below the episode, you'll see the subscribe button, right? Subscribe if you haven't already, right? And if you are already subscribed, I'm going to ask you to do something risky with me to feed the beast. Unsubscribe yourself on the red button below this video. Unsubscribe, count to 3, and then subscribe. Now, I might lose some people during this exercise, and that's going to be totally okay. Thank you for your time. I enjoyed our time together, enjoyed engaging along throughout the years, but I just need to see something in the data, and I need to see if the jolting the YouTube system and the algorithm helps it just remember that smaller channels exist out there. I feel like I'm following a couple small channels, and all of us feel like we're stuck at the exact same smallness. And it's not like our content has significantly changed. We all are relatively consistent. I'm probably the least consistent of the ones that I'm following. But it's still a scenario where it's like, how is it's not happening to any of us though? Like there might be 12 to 15 that I go occasionally check in on, and something seems weird. Okay, so part of my test here is that if it works, and of course I do believe you have to have a strong community to pull this kind of request off, because I'm asking you to do something that could backfire on me completely, right? But I love this community. I love how dedicated so many of you have been for so long. Like I see the regular names pop up all the time. If you change your icons, you're gonna screw me, because I end up associating your circle with your name. And sometimes my app, my phone app, and my website, they show different pictures for you. And sometimes the names, well, some of you have changed your names. I sort of remember some of you, but in some cases, if the name and the image change, I'm gonna lose context, the historic context, because I read so many comments, and that you become imprinted in my brain to some degree. And so anyways, I'm derailing, even though these slides are meant for me to not derail. Anyway, so that's my ask of you. Just as an exercise again, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're one of the 64% out there that are watching content and you're not subscribing, if you have reasons to not subscribe, it's totally cool. I'm not going to be here harking just for you to convert just for the sake of conversion. I want to do it because I want to analyze something with this with all of your help. So if you haven't subscribed and you're interested in subscribing and supporting this channel in that way, please consider doing so. If you're already subscribed, video below here, unsubscribe, count to 3, subscribe again. I need that data to be associated specifically to this video. That I can't stress that enough. So please, yeah, do your best. Do your best. And then of course, vote on any of the community polls. Like I said and explained in the previous slides here, it's super important. You've seen how I break things down. I'm listening to all of you, all of your votes, all of your voices matter, your comments, everything. I take all of that in, okay? And it all matters to the way I prioritize the games that are coming to this channel and the direction of this channel holistically. Because this is a variety gaming channel, it makes it very hard for YouTube to position me in discovery, because it's so many games, and so one game might do very, very well, but if I post the next day and it's a different game, that game doesn't do as well as the game previous to it, then it screws with the YouTube algorithm in a way where YouTube doesn't know how to associate whether or not it should be sending people to the channel, because it's fluctuating, right? Like Batman comes out 200 views, right, in a day, then Hollow Knight comes out 20 views in a day, and the algorithm gets confused there, right? I don't have any problem with that range of views. People who love watching the content, please keep watching the content. However many of you enjoy it, please. That's why I'm uploading it. Otherwise I would just stop, right? So part of that though is I do have to start considering some of this in the strategy if I want to grow to we're almost at 3,000. At this call to action right here, I think we're going to get to 3,000. That's without a doubt in my mind. Now, can we get to 5,000? Eventually, but see, I can't even give a date because I have no way of predicting growth anymore. I used to do this in the first few years of YouTube, and it was consistent, and it was like I could predict it, that slow growth kind of strategy that I was on always worked for 4 years, something like that. And then it just started breaking down very rapidly. So anyways, back on track here. Do you recall any other games that I might have orphaned along the way? Let me know. I will add them to the next slide deck for the next update. This one's getting pretty long, but I sort of had to get a lot of this heavy lifting out of the way. And so these will get leaner and leaner and leaner as we go. Or I'll keep them this long. Here's the thing. Tell me what you think about this format. So if you don't mind these being longer update videos and we're just, chilling, chatting, you're leaving your comments down below, because of course that will feed the beast. And I'm happy to go and take those comments and then do something with that in the next video. And this will kind of transform as we go, and we'll do this together. Okay. So any questions, concerns, feedback, of course, leave your comments in the section below. And of course, without further ado, everybody, don't forget to explore, engage, and aspire. I'll catch you next time. Peace.